The rain fell heavily that night in Port Harcourt. Thunder cracked above the roofs like angry drums, and lightning flashed across the sky, lighting up a quiet neighborhood in GRA Phase 2. Inside one of the houses, a two-story duplex painted cream and gold, a woman stood by the window, staring out into the rain. Her name was Amara, and her eyes were swollen from crying. Her phone lay on the table beside her, open to a series of screenshots that felt like poison to her heart. Her hands shook as she scrolled through the messages. They were between her husband, Tunde, and her best friend, Chioma. Each word cut deeper than the last. Each emoji burned like fire. Amara whispered under her breath, "So it's true. He failed the test." But this wasn't how it started. No, this was how it ended. The beginning was far more dangerous, far more planned, and far more heartbreaking. Because Amara never meant to destroy her marriage. She only wanted to test it. And that test became the trap. You're watching Nightfall Tales by Wura, where stories breathe, hearts race, and truth meets emotion. Now, relax and let's step into the trust trap. Amara and Tunde were the couple everyone admired. They had been married for 7 years, no scandals, no public fights, and no social media drama. Their friends called them the power couple of Port Harcourt. Tunde was an oil company engineer, smart, calm, and handsome, the kind of man who made women look twice. Amara was a fashion designer, elegant and strong, known for her creativity and poise. Together, they looked perfect. But perfection, they say, is only a picture, not the full story. For months, Amara had felt something changing. Tunde had grown distant, late-night work calls, quiet dinners, less laughter. When she asked, he said, "Babe, work is just crazy right now." But her heart wasn't convinced. Her best friends Chioma, Ada, and Ijeoma noticed her sadness. They often met at Amara's shop in GRA to talk about everything, love, men, and marriage. One afternoon, Chioma laughed and said, "Men are all the same, Amara. If you want to know if yours is loyal, just test him." Amara smiled weakly. "Test him how?" Ada leaned closer, whispering, "Simple. Use us. One after the other. If Tunde can resist all three of us, then he's truly loyal." At first, Amara laughed it off. But later that night, as she lay beside her sleeping husband, her mind wouldn't stop turning. What if they were right? What if she tested him, just to be sure? It sounded crazy. Dangerous. But curiosity and fear mixed into one thought that wouldn't leave her. I need to know the truth. That was how the trust trap began. Chioma was bold, beautiful, and confident, the kind of woman who turned heads when she walked into a room. She was also Amara's closest friend, practically a sister. When Amara told her about the plan, Chioma raised her eyebrow. "You want me to flirt with your husband? Just talk to him. See how he reacts," Amara said quietly. "And if he reacts well? Then I'll know." Chioma sighed. "Fine. But I hope you're ready for whatever you find." The plan began on a Friday evening. Tunde had just closed from work when Chioma called him. "Hi, Tunde. I'm around GRA. My car broke down near your office. Please, can you help me?" Tunde didn't hesitate. "Of course. Send me your location." Within 20 minutes, he arrived. Chioma stood beside her car, pretending to be frustrated. Tunde checked the car, made a few calls, and helped her get a mechanic. When it was done, Chioma smiled. "You've really changed, Tunde. I remember when you couldn't even fix a fan." They both laughed. Then she said softly, "You know, Amara is lucky. Not many men would come out this late for another woman." Tunde smiled. "Chioma, you're my wife's friend. Helping you is like helping her." Her eyes studied him for a moment, testing, measuring. "And if I wasn't her friend," she teased. Tunde looked at her, then chuckled. "Then I'd still help you. But I wouldn't let you joke like that." There was silence. Then Chioma said, "Good night, Tunde." You passed. He looked confused. Past what? But she only smiled and waved. That night, Amara couldn't sleep. When Chioma called and told her everything, Amara's heart softened a bit. Maybe he really is loyal, she whispered to herself. But Ada, who was there with her, said, "One test doesn't prove anything. Let me try next." Chioma was bold, beautiful, and confident, the kind of woman who turned heads when she walked into a room. She was also Amara's closest friend, practically a sister. When Amara told her about the plan, Chioma raised her eyebrow. "You want me to flirt with your husband?" "Just talk to him. See how he reacts," Amara said quietly. "And if he reacts well? Then I'll know." Chioma sighed. "Fine. But I hope you're ready for whatever you find." The plan began on a Friday evening. Tunde had just closed from work when Chioma called him. "Hi, Tunde. I'm around GRA. My car broke down near your office. Please, can you help me?" Tunde didn't hesitate. "Of course. Send me your location." Within 20 minutes, he arrived. Chioma stood beside her car, pretending to be frustrated. Tunde checked the car, made a few calls, and helped her get a mechanic. When it was done, Chioma smiled. "You've really changed, Tunde. I remember when you couldn't even fix a fan." They both laughed. Then she said softly, "You know, Amara is lucky. Not many men would come out this late for another woman." Tunde smiled. "Chioma, you're my wife's friend. Helping you is like helping her." Her eyes studied him for a moment, testing, measuring. "And if I wasn't her friend," she teased. Tunde looked at her, then chuckled. "Then I'd still help you. But I wouldn't let you joke like that." There was silence. Then Chioma said, "Good night, Tunde. You passed." He looked confused. "Past what?" But she only smiled and waved. That night, Amara couldn't sleep. When Chioma called and told her everything, Amara's heart softened a bit. Maybe he really is loyal, she whispered to herself. But Ada, who was there with her, said, "One test doesn't prove anything. Let me try next." Ada was the calm, gentle type, a single mother and very beautiful. Unlike Chioma, she had a quiet charm that most men found comforting. Amara trusted her completely. Or so she thought. The plan was simple: Ada would visit Tunde at his office under the pretense of needing business advice. She wore a neat white blouse and a pencil skirt, nothing too loud, but elegant enough to draw attention. When she entered Tunde's office, he was surprised. "Ada! What a surprise! Hope everything's okay?" She smiled softly. "Everything's fine. I just needed to ask your advice. I'm thinking of starting a small logistics business." Tunde offered her a seat and listened carefully. He gave her genuine advice, even helping her with a sample business plan template. After almost an hour, Ada stood up to leave, but then she paused. "Tunde, can I be honest?" "Of course," he said. She took a step closer, her eyes soft. "You're a good man. If Amara ever lets you go, she's making a big mistake." Tunde froze. "Ada, that's not a good joke." "It's not a joke," she whispered. "I mean it." He stepped back slightly. "Ada, please. You're my wife's friend. Don't say that." She smiled faintly. "Then you've passed too." Tunde frowned. "Passed what again?" But she just said, "You'll know soon," and left quietly. That evening, when Amara heard everything, she cried, but this time from relief. Maybe her husband truly was faithful. Maybe her heart could rest. But then came Ijeoma, the third friend, and the one who would change everything. Because unlike the others, Ijeoma had secrets of her own. If Chioma was bold and Ada was gentle, then Ijeoma was fire. She was beautiful in a way that drew eyes everywhere she went, tall, chocolate-skinned, with a voice that could melt tension. She had always been Amara's craziest friend, the type who believed no man is truly faithful unless you tempt him hard enough. So when Amara told her about the 2 previous tests, Ijeoma smirked and said, "Forget those soft tests. Men don't fail kindness. They fail desire." Amara frowned. "What do you mean?" "If you want to know if Tunde is loyal, don't test his pity, test his temptation." Her words made Amara uneasy. But curiosity won. That weekend, Ijeoma called Tunde. She told him she needed help with a small interior project for her apartment. She knew he loved home design and gadgets. Tunde agreed to stop by on Sunday after church. When he arrived, the apartment smelled of lavender and new furniture. Ijeoma wore a simple yellow gown, not revealing, but fitted enough to draw the eye. "Wow, this looks good," Tunde said as he stepped in. "Thanks." "You like it?" she asked, smiling. "You know, you've always had good taste." No wonder Amara's house looks so perfect. They talked about lighting, curtains, and furniture placements. It was casual until it wasn't. As Tunde reached to adjust a wall frame, Ijeoma's hand brushed against his. Their eyes met. There was silence. That 1 second stretched too long. "You smell nice," she whispered. Tunde froze. "Ijeoma." She stepped closer. "Relax. I'm just saying the truth. You're a good man, but maybe Amara doesn't appreciate you enough." He stepped back, breathing heavily. "Stop this, please." "What if I don't want to?" she said softly, her hand reaching his chest. Tunde caught her wrist gently and said, his voice low but firm, "Ijeoma, don't destroy my marriage." The silence that followed was thick. Then Ijeoma laughed, not playfully, but nervously. "Wow. You actually resisted me." "Why are you doing this?" he asked. She looked at him with strange eyes. "You'll find out soon." And just like that, she walked away. Tunde left the apartment confused, his mind spinning. He didn't know he had just stepped into the biggest trap of all, because Ijeoma's test wasn't about loyalty anymore. It was about revenge. That night, Ijeoma visited Amara. She sat quietly, pretending to be nervous. Amara held her hand. "So, how did it go?" Ijeoma took a deep breath. "Amara, I don't know how to say this, but Tunde tried to kiss me." The words hit Amara like a slap. "What?" "He came close. He held my hand. He said you don't make him feel loved anymore." Amara's heart stopped. "No. Tunde would never." Ijeoma sighed. "I didn't want to tell you. But I can't lie to you either. I'm your friend." Tears filled Amara's eyes. "So after all this time, he failed?" "I'm sorry," Ijeoma whispered, pretending to wipe her eyes. That night, Amara couldn't sleep. She stared at her husband as he snored softly beside her, her heart pounding with betrayal and anger. In the morning, she confronted him. "Tunde, what happened between you and Ijeoma?" Tunde blinked, confused. "Ijeoma? Nothing happened. She called me to help with her apartment." "Why are you asking?" "She told me everything." "Everything what?" he shouted. "That you tried to kiss her." Tunde's face went pale. "That's a lie." "She's lying, Amara." But the damage was done. Amara's trust had snapped like glass. She packed a small bag and left the house, ignoring his pleas. Her mind was chaos, doubt, pain, humiliation. And Ijeoma, watching from her balcony later that evening, smiled wickedly. Because deep down, she had always envied Amara, her beauty, her marriage, her peace. And now, she had taken it all away. For weeks, Amara stayed at her sister's place. Tunde called every day, texted, even sent gifts, but she ignored him. Chioma and Ada were shocked when they heard the story. "Wait, what? That doesn't sound like Tunde," Ada said. "It doesn't," Chioma added. "He didn't even flirt with me when I tested him." Amara frowned. "He changed, Chioma. People change. But something in her voice was broken, the fire gone. Meanwhile, Tunde couldn't focus. He barely ate. His office noticed his change. He even tried to talk to Ijeoma, but she ignored his calls. Until one afternoon, he showed up at her apartment unannounced. "Why did you lie to my wife?" he demanded. Ijeoma smiled softly. "Lie? I told her the truth." "No, you didn't. You wanted to ruin my home." "Why?" Her face darkened. "Because you ruined mine first." Tunde frowned. "What are you talking about? You don't even remember, do you? 2 years ago, your company laid off my fiancé. You were the team lead. You told the management he was unfit. He drank himself to death after that." Tunde stepped back, shocked. "Oh my God. Ijeoma, I never meant for that to happen." "I don't care," she screamed. "You took my future. Now I've taken yours." She broke down in tears, collapsing to the floor. But Tunde only stood there, frozen, realizing how deep the wound went, how this wasn't just a game anymore. Later that night, Amara received a text from Tunde. "If this is how it ends, I forgive you. But please, talk to Chioma and Ada. Ask them the truth." Something in that message struck her differently. She called Chioma. Chioma told her everything, from the beginning, from the plan. And that was when Amara realized she had destroyed her own home trying to test it. But it wasn't too late. Or was it? The night was heavy in Port Harcourt. Amara sat by her sister's window, phone in hand, tears streaming down her face as Chioma's words echoed in her mind. "Amara, Tunde never did what Ijeoma said. He respected you every step of the way." Amara's hand trembled. "Then why would Ijeoma lie?" Chioma sighed. "I don't know, but something isn't right with her. Maybe you should confront her." That night, Amara couldn't sleep. Guilt burned through her chest like fire. She had doubted the one man who had done nothing wrong, and in doing so, she had walked right into the trust trap she built herself. The next morning, she decided to visit Ijeoma. She didn't tell anyone. As she drove through the quiet streets of GRA, her mind replayed every smile, every laugh, every promise she had shared with Tunde. When she arrived at Ijeoma's apartment, she knocked gently. Ijeoma opened the door, looking startled. "Amara? What are you doing here?" "I came for the truth," Amara said firmly. They sat opposite each other in silence. The air was thick with tension. "You told me Tunde tried to kiss you," Amara began. "Yes," Ijeoma replied quickly. "And that he said I don't make him feel loved anymore." "Yes. I spoke to Chioma and Ada. They told me everything about the tests." Ijeoma's eyes flickered. "And?" "They said Tunde passed both of their tests." "So tell me, Ijeoma, why did you lie?" Ijeoma looked away, her voice cracking. "You won't understand." "Then make me understand," Amara pressed, tears in her eyes. Silence. Then Ijeoma whispered. "Because I wanted you to feel what I felt, to lose what I lost." "What did I take from you?" Ijeoma stood up, her eyes burning. "You remember Emeka, my fiancé? The one who worked at Shell? He lost his job because of Tunde's report. That report ruined him. He couldn't handle it. He started drinking. He died because your husband said he was incompetent." Amara covered her mouth in shock. "Oh my God. Ijeoma, I didn't know." Tears rolled down Ijeoma's cheeks. "I know it wasn't your fault, but every time I saw your perfect marriage, I hated you. I hated him. So when you came with this trust test idea, I saw my chance. I wanted revenge." Amara's knees weakened. "You destroyed my home for revenge?" Ijeoma broke down crying. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to go this far." Amara stood up and whispered. "You meant it, Ijeoma. You planned it. And now." I don't even know who I am anymore." She left without another word. Outside, she sat in her car and cried like a child. The trap she built to test trust had caught her instead, and now, she was the one drowning in regret. Tunde sat alone in their once happy living room. The photo of their wedding day still hung on the wall, Amara in white lace, smiling at him like he was her world. Now, that smile was gone. He picked up his phone again, no missed calls, no texts. Every second felt heavier. He hadn't been eating or sleeping well. Even his boss noticed his silence at work. Chioma stopped by a few times to check on him, but he barely spoke. "You look terrible," she said softly one afternoon. "I feel worse," he replied. She looked at him sadly. "Amara will come around. She just needs time." Tunde smiled bitterly. "Time doesn't heal lies, Chioma. It only deepens them." That night, he found an old note from Amara tucked inside one of his drawers. It read, "To my forever man, thank you for loving me even when I doubt myself. You are my peace." He held that note to his chest and broke down completely. Later, he drove out to the riverside, where he and Amara used to sit every Sunday evening. He sat there for hours, staring at the water, whispering to himself. "I just wanted to love her right." A few fishermen nearby watched him quietly, sensing his pain. When he finally returned home, his phone rang. It was Chioma again, but her voice sounded urgent this time. "Tunde, where are you? Amara just called me, she's been trying to reach you." His heart raced. "She called you?" "Yes. She found out the truth about Ijeoma. Please, go to her." Tunde didn't wait another second. He grabbed his keys, jumped into his car, and sped into the night. Amara had been driving too. She was on her way home, the home she had abandoned, ready to make things right, ready to fall into Tunde's arms and beg for forgiveness. Rain began to fall again, heavy and wild, just like the night this whole story began. She kept glancing at her phone, waiting for his call, but it never came. In the distance, a car approached, headlights bright through the rain. It was Tunde's car. Both of them saw each other's lights, both hearts pounding, both desperate to reunite. Amara smiled through her tears and pressed her foot on the accelerator. But at that exact second, a truck swerved from the side road. Tunde's eyes widened in horror. Amara screamed. Tires screeched. Metal crashed. Glass shattered. Then, silence. When Tunde opened his eyes, smoke filled the air. His car was dented, but he was alive. He stumbled out, dazed, searching for Amara's car, and when he saw it lying by the roadside, crushed, his heart stopped. "Amara," he shouted, running toward her. She was barely conscious, blood trickling from her forehead, but her lips trembled as she whispered. "Tunde. I'm sorry." He held her hand tightly. No, don't you dare close your eyes. You'll be fine. You'll be fine." But her grip weakened. Her eyes fluttered. Sirens wailed in the distance. As the ambulance arrived and pulled her from the wreck, Tunde collapsed beside her, sobbing uncontrollably. The world spun in slow motion, every sound fading, every color dimming. All he could think of was one thing. If only I never let her test me. When Amara opened her eyes again, everything was white and still. The soft hum of a hospital monitor filled the room. Her sister was there, holding her hand. "You're awake," she whispered, tears running down her cheeks. Amara's voice was weak. "Tunde?" Her sister smiled through tears. "He's fine. He's been here every day. He hasn't left your side." Amara looked around and saw flowers everywhere. On the table, the windowsill, even the floor. Notes from friends, co-workers, and from Tunde. Each one began with the same line. "I'm sorry for everything." The door opened quietly, and Tunde stepped in. His eyes were tired, his shirt wrinkled, but the moment he saw her, relief washed over him. "You're okay," he said, voice trembling. "Thank God." Amara's eyes filled again. "I'm sorry, Tunde. I doubted you." I hurt you. I let anger speak louder than love. He sat beside her and took her hand. It doesn't matter anymore. You came back. That's all I ever wanted. They stayed like that, silent, holding hands, two hearts broken but still beating together. Across the city, Ijeoma couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Amara's car, the flashing lights, the guilt written in her own reflection. She hadn't told anyone what she had done, but word about the crash spread quickly. Chioma and Ada had stopped speaking to her, their silence hurt more than insults ever could. On the third night, Ijeoma walked to the same church she and Amara used to attend together. She sat at the back, head bowed, tears falling freely. When the pastor finished his sermon, she waited until the hall was empty and whispered a prayer that was half confession, half plea. God, I broke something I can't fix. I wanted revenge, but I only found emptiness. Please, show me how to make it right. She left the church feeling smaller, yet lighter. For the first time, she wanted to face what she had done, not hide from it. 2 weeks later, Amara was home again, walking slowly but healing. The house smelled like old memories and forgiveness. That morning, the bell rang. Tunde opened the door and froze. It was Ijeoma. She stood there quietly, holding a small brown envelope. Please, may I speak to her? Tunde hesitated, then nodded. Amara was in the living room, sitting near the window. When she saw Ijeoma, she looked away. Why are you here? Ijeoma's voice shook. To tell you the truth. To say sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I couldn't carry this anymore. She handed Amara the envelope. Inside were 2 letters, one written to Amara, one to Tunde. Amara opened hers. It was a confession, every detail of the lie, the jealousy, the revenge, and the guilt that followed. When she finished reading, her eyes were wet again. You could have just told me you were hurting, she said quietly. Ijeoma nodded, crying. I know. I didn't see what I was becoming until it was too late. Amara reached out slowly and took her hand. You broke me, Ijeoma. But holding on to anger won't heal either of us. They sat together, both crying softly, 2 women learning that forgiveness is not weakness, it's the only way to start again. Tunde watched from the doorway, silent, then stepped forward and said, Let's end this trap once and for all. No more secrets, no more tests. Just truth. They all nodded. Outside, the Port Harcourt sky was clear for the first time in weeks. The morning sunlight poured through the curtains like a slow blessing. Amara stood before the mirror, touching the faint scar near her temple, a reminder of how close she had come to losing everything. Tunde came in quietly behind her, carrying 2 cups of tea. I made it the way you like, he said softly. She smiled faintly. After everything, you still remember? He chuckled, setting the cups down. I never forgot. I just lost sight of what mattered for a while. For the first time in weeks, they talked, not as husband and wife trying to fix a marriage, but as 2 people rediscovering who they used to be. They laughed at old memories, shared stories, and for a brief moment, it felt like love had returned home. Then Amara said something unexpected. I want us to start over, Tunde. No secrets. No tests. No pride. Just us. He reached for her hand and nodded. Then let's rebuild, even if it takes the rest of our lives. Ijeoma didn't disappear after her apology. Instead, she did something no one expected. She began helping at the same marriage counseling center where she and Amara once attended a workshop years ago. She volunteered every week, sitting quietly while other couples spoke about betrayal, mistrust, and forgiveness. Each story reminded her of her own mistakes, but also gave her strength. One afternoon, she received a text from Amara. Can you meet me tomorrow? I want you to see something. When she arrived, Amara was standing outside her new boutique, House of Grace. The sign shimmered in the sunlight, elegant and bold. Amara smiled warmly. I'm naming one of the sections after you, Ijeoma's Corner. It's where we'll tell stories about rebuilding trust. Real stories. Ijeoma froze. After everything I did, you still want that? Amara nodded. Because grace doesn't wait for perfection. It finds you in your lowest moment and gives you another chance. They hugged tight, trembling, unashamed. And for the first time since the trap began, Ijeoma felt free. Months passed. The gossip faded. The wounds became stories. Amara and Tunde renewed their vows, not in a grand ceremony, but in their living room, surrounded by family, laughter, and candles. Each of Amara's 3 friends came to Chioma, Ada, and Ijeoma. They stood behind her, smiling. During the short ceremony, Tunde turned to them and said quietly, "You all played a part in our story, the good, the bad, and the broken. But look at us now, we survived it." When the couple kissed, the room erupted in applause. Later that night, as they stood outside watching the stars, Amara whispered, "Funny how a test meant to break us became the thing that made us stronger." Tunde smiled, wrapping his arm around her. "That's because love isn't about never falling, it's about choosing to rise together every time we do." The camera of life panned upward, the house glowing softly below, laughter echoing into the night, proof that even the deepest wounds can heal when love learns to trust again. And so, dear listener, let this be a reminder, never test the ones you love, for true trust is proven not through traps, but through time. Sometimes, love needs no experiments, only honesty, patience, and grace. Because when 2 hearts forgive, even the scars become stories worth telling.